Hi, this is Carrie Cooper for Guitar Centre's Focus on Rock. Now, we all have our favourite rock music concert footage, and in our family's household it would have to be the VHS of Neil Young live in Berlin in 1982 that saw the most action in our front room. Since the mid-80s, all manner of family gatherings, parties or even quiet nights in would end in my dad pressing play on this bizarre moment in Neil Young history. I say bizarre as this was the tour that followed the release of the album Trans, which received mixed reviews from critics at the time. A surefire departure from his 70s material, this 12th studio album was jam-packed with futuristic references and vocal effects featuring prominently. In fact, 6 out of the 9 tracks featured the Sennheiser vocoder VSM 201, with occasional appearances from the Synclavier, baffling hardcore Neil Young fans at the time. What people weren't aware of back then was that from 1980 to 1982, Young spent every hour he could developing a therapy program for his son Ben, who was born with cerebral palsy and wasn't able to talk. Much of the work on this album, and indeed the previous one, Reactor, related to that very personal work and exercises he was doing with Ben. And aside from being inspired by electronic experiments of bands such as Kraftwerk, it said the distortion of his voice in the album more closely reflected his attempts to communicate with his son Ben. Poncho, guitarist from Crazy Horse, recalls, "Next thing we knew, Neil stripped all our music off, overdubbed all this stuff, the vocoder, weird sequencing, and put the synth crap on it." As for the tour itself, and in particular this night in Berlin, it remains, I believe, one of the most irresistible pieces of Neil Young concert footage to date. To see a forward-thinking German crowd sitting on their hands wide-mouthed during the vocoder performance of Transformer Man is simply mesmerising. For all the talk over the years about how Neil sprang his shocking new musical direction on an audience just wanting to hear the older hits, the set list here is also a lot more varied than you might expect. You get everything from folky Neil, Old Man and Needle and the Damage Done, to full-on rockers, Cinnamon Girl and Hey Hey, My My. There are a handful of VHS copies of Neil Young live in Berlin kicking around. Certainly there's one in our family TV cabinet back in the UK. But as with many iconic moments, you can find it easily enough on YouTube today. 2 of the finest moments are his blistering performance of Sample and Hold and Like a Hurricane, played with the fierce energy and raw talent of Young and Crazy Horse everyone expected and loved at the time. We all have those gigs we wish we could have attended, and this would have to be one of mine, to have been in Berlin on that blustery night back in 1982, probably with my dad by my side. This is Carrie Cooper for Guitar Centre's Focus on Rock. You can shop for the greatest selection of music gear on earth in store and at guitarcentre.com.